Cris. So let's do some love for Denise. I, threw her on the spot there, made her, made her share. Miss Cris Graves in the room. Hello. Oh, we need to unmute you. All right, there you go.
There we go. Hey.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Here in Los Angeles, I don't know where everyone else is, but that's where I live.
We love LA. So yeah, that's something that people can put in the chat as they're putting their information where they're from. You might have a neighbor on here. So let me do your introduction, please. So this is Cris Graves, and what you're in for a real treat. So Cris is an Emmy Award winner. She's a winning filmmaker, and she is a writer and a director. And she is presently involved in having her feature film, A Lone Girl, hit the screens. So she's going to talk a little bit about how to get an independent film made. Now, let's just kind of stop for a minute and take that breath. I mean, 2 years ago, we probably wouldn't be having that conversation with people that weren't in film. And I see it as an indicator just to the accessibility that we have to, again, express ourselves, do some super cool things. And, I've been showing books, like there's books and books and books of women that have written books, and you hear it often. Oh, I'd love to turn it into a movie. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. So the thing that you may not know about Cris, which is interesting, which is really interesting, is that she is obsessed with Hallmark Christmas movies. Oh my gosh, have I introduced you to Crystal Yankee Crystal Lowe? No. Vancouver to LA. She was the first woman to direct a Hallmark movie that had a woman as a key role. You'd love her. And the song that she is loving on right now is Peter Gabriel, Red Rain. It's a good one. It's a good one. You got 2 thumbs up from Sarah on that one. All right. So let's talk a little bit about that. The gift to everyone is going to be a link to a free screensaver. And she can show a little bit about that after she shares. And then a private conversation with Cris and a gorgeous spinster deck, talking about decks, is what one wonderful woman is going to win. How cool is that?
They're daily affirmations. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about how to get an independent film made. Okay. So first of all, I needed to be educated on this, and other people may, but what is the difference between a documentary and a narrative featured film?
So a narrative or fiction, you might have heard them called fiction as well, is a film that is, written like you make up the characters and you see actors like Chris Hemsworth or, Meryl Streep playing the role. And a documentary is when you are telling a real story, a factual story. Those can come in many different modalities. It can be something that's happening right now that you're seeing them cover. It can be, say, true crime. They're retelling the story of something that happened, and the interviews are people who were actually involved or actually doing the thing. So it's the real life people.
Wow, that I was fascinating. So curious minds want to know. Well, let's take it. Let's go through it a little bit on from concept to people needing to go raise and put this film to piece. So I'm gonna just pass it over to you and take us through the, and I've changed the word journey in case you didn't catch that at the beginning of the show. We don't say journey anymore. Journeys from one pub to another pub in Ireland. What we do is called the stretch. We stretch ourselves to significance. So take us through the stretch journey of what it would be like.
Well, so I'm going to take you through the stretch journey of, on say my own personal journey, which is fairly similar to most journeys of an independent film that is a narrative or fiction film. In 2019, I wrote a script. So the first thing you need to start with is a story. What story do you want to tell? It helps if it's something you feel passionate about, because you are going to be living with this story for years and years and years. Movies don't unless you're very, very lucky or very well connected, do not get made in 2 months. It's just not the way it happens, especially independent films. Now, the way films get made or have been made between 2019 and today in 2025 has radically changed too. So I've been through quite a roller coaster, which every independent filmmaker goes through. But the first key thing is a story. Do you have a good story to tell? Do you have a why you're telling it that's going to keep you engaged and passionate about it? And everything else, you can go and find software that puts the script in the right format. There's many of them, Highlander, Final Draft, you can look it up. Does it help for you to take a writing class? It might, it depends on what your level of writing is. But really, get the first draft out there and don't overthink it. And then you're going to rewrite. It's always in the rewrite. My script is in its 29th draft, just to tell you. So you can always tinker with it. You can always work on it and make it better. What I did not have an agent. I did not have a manager for feature films, and but I knew I needed to get my script vetted. So I chose to enter it into a couple of competitions, and it placed fairly high in 3 categories of the Austin Film Festival in 2019, and it placed in the top 10% of the granddaddy of all the screenwriting competitions, the Nickel Fellowship in 2020. You will notice that I've used the year 2020 for my own journey or stretch. It meant that I was in the middle of a pandemic. And so when I got notifications like making the 25 screenwriters watch list based on my script from the Austin Film Festival, it happened in May of 2020, around the same time as when I got the Nickel Fellowship thing. Normally, when the world was normal, that would help me get seen by somebody who'd help make the film. But what that meant to me is that's cool. Now I've got this vetted script. When I talk to others about my script and myself, I can point to that, and it makes it something that they go, "Oh, I want to hear more about that." We don't have a ton of time, but what I went about the business, most people tell you to find a producer. I've had producers attached. I will tell you it's a marriage. A producer's a marriage on your project. If it's not working, decouple yourself. Do not just spend a year or two, because the next thing you do, you look around and you're like, I've just spent a year with this person and they're not right. And you need to be your biggest fan, your biggest passionate thing about the story. You literally start, I am 100% Religion of a Lone Girl, which is a coming of middle-age story wrapped in an unromantic comedy. So she says no, and her happy place is being on her own. And I think we need to see that more in this world. And I think it's super, we are taught as women that our happiness is exterior to ourselves from the first Disney film put in, right? It comes to us when a partner chooses us. And all of you fine young women and older women who are in relationships now that are working know that you had to come to that relationship having ownership of your happiness. It wasn't given to you, and you came as an equal partner. And so that's just something I feel very, very passionate about. I'm a blissful spinster. And what I believe is you need to look at the thing you're making and go, how can I be creative around the thing I'm making, and how can I engender or build an audience or fan base or reach out to people? Like Deb and I just met in a room like this, and you got to let your passion for what you're telling shine, and then plant seeds. That's what I would tell you. You never know where the people you're meeting, what you're doing, whether it's in a Zoom, whether it's in person. I go, Deb knows this, I'll go to things that are Q&As because I'm like, I'm going to meet that person. And I'm going to see if they are interested in being on my podcast or talking to me about a script. Can they connect me with someone? And that's how feature films, it sounds, I don't know if it's completely concrete information, but that is what it is. That is honestly what it is. And I've managed to attach an actress to my film before I have financing. That came from my passion and my willingness to just put myself out there and talk about my story and talk about the film. I also want to build a community around the film called Blissful Spinster, and I'm doing that. And, like, just put it out there, as I would say. And um, so the next step basically is financing and getting it cast. And some people will say, what comes first, the cast or the money? It depends on you and your film and who your connections are. I came into this, despite having an Emmy and having 20 some odd years in television, I didn't have contacts in film. So I've been starting from kind of scratch that way. And it's fine. I love every bit of it, even in the downtime, because you learn in those downtimes. You learn in your failures. You learn, um, and it makes you refine your pitch and your sales pitch and your story. And but the next step is either financing or cast. And I've gone with, okay, let me try to get some cast in place, and then I'm going to be doing something called a crowdfunding campaign, which many of you may have heard of, on a site called Seed and Spark that was created by a filmmaker. It's a woman-owned platform, and it's made specifically for filmmakers. And I'm working with a little team of friends trying to get that going and building a website and all of that goes with that. Because if I can get a small bit of money, then I can uh, get a couple things that need to be done, which is put my attorney for the film. Always get an attorney for your film. Do not do not enter into this thinking, no, but everyone says they don't need one. You do. It protects you and it protects everyone you're bringing onto your production. Um, but I can bring them on and put them on retainer. I can bring someone on to redo my budget, which was done before in 2021, and everything's changed since then. But there's all these little steps, right? And so, yeah, my next step is basically working on going about the business of making the magic of getting the funding. And I'm trying to raise $3 million. And you also need to keep yourself educated on how things are changing. There's a film out there called Sing Sing, which you guys may have heard of, or you folks, and they did a profit share model for their back end. So it's just keep yourself educated and go, okay, that's the way I want to budget my film. And once you get your funding and you cast your film, then you make a production calendar and you film it. I'm aiming to be filming November 23rd to December 24th. The story takes place in Los Angeles during between Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. So I'd like to shoot it in Los Angeles during the same around time. And then you go into edit, and it usually takes months to edit a film. Um, Everything you see, the 2 hours or the 1 hour thing on TV, it takes a big team of very talented human beings months to make that into what you're seeing. Um, and uh, and once that happens, then it's sending it out to festivals. I want to try to either send it out to TIFF. If it doesn't get into TIFF, then Sundance and South by Southwest would be my next aim. And then either self-distribute on Kinema. Seed and Spark has a deal with a company, or try to get distribution into the theater. And the bottom line is you need a story and passion and the willingness to put yourself out there to get it made.
Wow, I just feel like, what a creative project. And I think it's very insightful to see all the processes in the amount of time from editing and there's one thing about being passionate, but I loved that you highlighted that because you are going to be in this process. It's a relationship, right? I mean, most
Hmm.
people that have had a movie either brought to them, or I think that's part of it. They're like, can I embody, right? We hear about actors embodying, like, can I embody that role? Can I live with that? Can I eat that? Can I drink that? Because you are per se pitching it.
Yeah.
Before we kind of wrap things up a little bit, you talked about your team. So can you tell people, what kind of team you need? Obviously, you need a lawyer, right? Um,
Yeah. So yeah, you want to have a lawyer on a production that's familiar with production and entertainment law. Um, but like what the team I have currently, I have a director of photography. That's the person who's behind the camera. The person I have is a friend of mine who is on the way up, so that's good for me. I
on the
knew him
way up.
before that, but and that's where you networking to me is always most powerful laterally because then you move up together. But his name's David Bolin, and he DP'd a film called Thelma that just was out last year, and he's DP'd a whole lot of other documentaries and narrative films. And then I have a production designer. It's a woman, and I'm hell bent on making sure that an awful lot of the positions are being held by women. And production designers are a role that generally is a male role. And I'm really happy to have found Melissa. She is so talented, and to me, like two of the most important things when you're making a film is the person that's behind the camera that's translating the visual you want, and the person who is building the world that they are shooting, the production designer. They have to be super aligned with what you want. Um, and uh, and then I have a costume designer that I've found, and the person I want playing the lead, even the lead is very much, the story is very much based on me. About 75% of the dialogue is ripped from different conversations I've had, and the Hallmark Christmas movie thing is in there as a theme, that fact. And uh, the I see a question from someone. Yes, this is going to be my first feature film. Um, and I have a couple of friends of mine that have been with me for quite a while that are getting producing titles. They're not the creative producer that finds the money, but they're going to be the ones that allow me to get my vision out on screen. But yeah, a producer who can help with the financing would be great to find,
Yeah.
and that's aligned with the story and is ready to fight for me staying on as the director because as I just mentioned, I'm a first time director, and sometimes we get taken off our own projects, and I'm not going to let that happen.
Right
So
on.
anyway.
So that gives you an idea, like a full, like this is what you're looking at from a film standpoint. Thank you so much for giving us that bird's eye view, that insider view on what it's like to be on the inside. And then I mean, we're familiar that people have to raise capital. I'm sure we all saw, and if you didn't, go back and see, who took the clean sweep at the Oscars this year, and you'll
Yeah.
see the wave and the enjoyment around indie films and how that, just go back and do a little Google if you're not sure what we're talking about here. Um, from a, hey, let's support this whole thing. I remember, I've talked to a number of people that have done films, and they encourage people like go back into the theater, support film, support,
Hmm.
support, support people that are
Very
doing
much
good
so.
things in film. Um, I know that we're at time, but can you put in the chat your are you doing your crowdfunding? Someone is
um yeah, oh sorry, yeah, I don't, the crowdfund isn't up yet. I'm planning
okay,
to launch it in July.
okay,
I'm in the midst of building the website with a friend
okay,
right now.
okay.
But I do have, I'll put in the chat, there's blissfulspinster.com is my website, and there's a shop there. Anything anyone purchases in there is going towards supporting me and getting the film done.
Yep.
I'm also going to put here in a second. I'm going to put a link to the free gift, which is a Google Doc that you can download screensavers of spinster empowered quotes with it's like Jane Austen as a cat, and you can put those on your phone.
Perfect.
And then I'm also giving everyone here a discount code. You're the only ones who have it, sister. If you want to get these daily affirmation cards that I designed. And whoever answers the question right is going to get this free. So they'll have to send me their
Yeah.
thing. I designed these, and there's 45 days worth to keep your resilience, your independence, and your radical joy up.
Awesome. So I'm going to do that right now. Let's do some love, love, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Hands, hands, hands. Jazz hands. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Cris. And I'm going to ask a really easy question because we've been filled and we've had lots of really great information and drops. The first person to actually put in your email and the name of her film is going to win that incredible one-to-one private conversation with Cris and the gorgeous Spinster deck. If anyone's wondering about prizes, don't worry. Desi will get to you in a couple of days after the summit. She's going to put the person who won with the person who gave the gift, and all is good. So if you see your name in there and you don't get information tonight, you're probably not going to. You're probably not going to, but we all can't wait to support and to go to the show and film and all the things. So everything is in that chat. So make sure that you're connecting. Katie, I'm going to go over to you. So what do you think, girl?
Okay,
Thank you, everyone.
That makes me think of the fun things that I have a book in my head, and I'm like, ooh, maybe someday this could be turned into something really fun. But wow, just to hear of all that goes into it, I really love the fact that you have to be committed 100%, like married to the script. Like that's because there's going to be hard times. Obviously, it's going to take more than you expect. And so, yeah, that's really interesting. I love hearing all that.
It's really good. And the podcast, I'm sure, is in the chat, and great conversations that go on there for anyone that's just wanting to hear and learn more about film and production and all that good thing. So that's amazing.
I also like the blissful spinster too, because not all of us are moms, and we need to just support each other as women. And how much fun are you having with that? I love it. I just think that's the whole idea behind that, and celebrating women, period. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one last round of applause. Da da da. Hearts, hearts, hearts. That's so amazing.